So now that we know how to create user interaction with our apps, we're almost ready to build our Cat Years app. There's just one thing we need to spice our apps up a little bit, and that is the ability to add images to our apps. That's actually pretty easy to do. So let's first off just go and find an image. So I've gone to images.google.com, and you can search here for any image type you like. I'm going to search for baby hedgehogs because I think they're cute. And obviously you need to be careful when you're using images in your apps to make sure that you have a license to use those images. Now this isn't a shortcut, but I find if you add Wikipedia to your search term, and if you check, here we go, a couple of results from Wikipedia themselves. So if we use that one, you can normally be fairly sure that you have the right to use that image. Now, having said that, I'd always recommend looking at the page itself and checking what the license agreement is. And you can see here, you're free to share and remix the work, but you do need to attribute it. So I'm going to use this image in my app. So I'm going to control click and save image as. Then I'll just pop it in the desktop. There we go. And then we'll move back over to Xcode and bring the image into our app. And the easiest way to do that is to just go to the Finder, find the image, and then just drag it in. So I'm going to drag it there. I recommend copying the item if needed, then it will actually copy it into your app. Finish, and there it is. So there's the image itself. How do we get it to display on our app? Very straightforward. We go to main storyboard, and we're going to add a new type of object, and that is an image view. So we use view to refer to a number of different things. So view, in the sense that we've seen it before, like view controller, is the whole screen itself. But actually all of these little items are in themselves views. So this is a user interface image view. And as with our labels and text views, when we click on it, we get a bunch of options, but these are specific to images. So the main thing we're going to need to do is select the image from the dropdown. And there we go. We now have our hedgehog in our app, and we can manipulate it in just the same way we have done with labels and text fields. And just to make sure it does appear in the app itself as well, let's just run that, and we should see our hedgehog appearing right there in the app. Now we can add images to our apps, but one more thing before we move on to the Cat Years app, it's worth knowing the number of ways of displaying those images differently. So you can see at the moment the image is stretching to the dimensions of the image view, its container. That might not be the behavior that we want, especially if we're loading this image programmatically and we don't know the dimensions of it. We might end up stretching it like that, which would look pretty bad. So there's a number of different content modes that you can use. Let's just look at a few of those. So we can center it, so we're in the middle of the image but full size. We can move to the top of the image, the left of the image, etc., etc. And we can use aspect fill to fill the image by the shorter side, and then it will stretch out over the side to stretch it for the longest side. And this will keep the image's original dimensions, but it will go out of the range of your image view. So I suspect the most commonly used setup is aspect fit, which means that it will always be inside your image view, but you will likely get a little bit of empty space either side unless it's exactly the same dimensions as your image view. So I recommend using aspect fit, but feel free to experiment with these other ones, which might be useful in different situations. Okay, now it's time to build the first app of the course, Cat Years.